Vlookup. We get this all the time, where people wanting to know how to utilize this function. My name is Alwyn, and I will take you through this session on Vlookup. Let us look at this list that I've got on this paper. If I look at my information here, it's based on products that we sell. Looking at the column headings, I've got product ID. Product ID uniquely identifies each product that I actually sell. In the product column lists all the products that I actually sell. Date purchase is the dates that we purchase these products before reselling them. Cost has all the actual monetary value that we assign to each product that we want to actually sell this product on. So let's say I want to get information from this table that I have on this page. So I'm going to ask you a question. What is the cost? What is the cost? So if you're sitting there a bit confused and your next question is, cost of what? Cost of what? Then you're on the right path, because that makes no sense. If I said, give me a date, give me the date. Date of what? Give me the product. Give me the product. Product of what? That realistically makes no sense. So for me to get a result, an answer from you, I would have to give you a reference for you to refer to give me that specific result. So let's do this. What if I said, give me the cost of pen? Now, pen is the value that we're going to find that result. What is the result? Cost. So because pen is the value that I'm saying, go to this list and give me the cost for the pen, then pen becomes the lookup value. The lookup value is what we utilize to get the result, the answer. What is the result? Well, at this point, we have no idea. So now that we know that we are trying to get the information for pen, when you go pen and paper and you run your finger looking for this information, so if our table is massive and we need to get the information from this massive table, we never run our finger on every single column, starting from the first column, looking for that lookup value, looking for pen. I'm not going to start with product ID and then run my finger down in search for pen, and then only go to product to then find pen. Nobody does that. In actual fact, first you will look at the column on which you would actually find that lookup value. You'll ignore all the columns before it. So with that, we know now that pen will fall somewhere under the product column. So because of that, we tend to run our finger down till we find that specific reference, that lookup value. Once we find it, we then run our finger across to the right-hand side. Now notice when you run your finger, you don't jump. You actually run it straight across till you stop at the point where you're going to get the answer, to the point where you're going to get the information. So because of this, we run our finger once we find pen, and we run it across, and we stop at where we're going to retrieve our answer. In this case, it stopped at 15, and that's our answer. Now, you're probably asking, but where is Vlookup in all of this? Now, one more thing. I'm sure you've been given a form to fill in. Over the years, as we get older, there's more and more forms we tend to be given to fill in. You must know this is the routine, a form where you've got to put in your details. So if you see a form where it's asked you for name, you don't go and put in your country, you do not go and put in your phone number, you'll put in your name, surname, What work do you do? An email address. So all you're doing is filling out a form, and whether we type it out or whether we write it on a piece of paper, we can easily fill in a form and we understand what a form is. So now let's walk through Vlookup. Looking at this information now in Microsoft Excel, you're going to see it has the exact same information as I did before. So you have your product ID, your products, your date purchased, as well as the cost of each product. So let's ask the question as we did before. This time I'm going to ask it to Excel. What is the cost? What is the cost? So Excel is going to be confused at this point and also ask the question, the cost of what? Now notice on cell B1, I typed out pen. Pen in cell B1 is our lookup value. It's the value we're indicating in that cell for Excel to go and find the cost of that pen from this list that we've created. So as you can see, pen is separate from the actual list. So pen in B1 is the value that we're using to go and find, to look up that specific result. So whenever we're working with a function, we need to fill in a form. The form is going to help Microsoft Excel understand what information you're looking for to then generate an answer. Just as you typed out the form earlier. Now let's get the form for us. To get the form, we're going to go to the Formulas tab. In the Formulas tab, it opens up the Formulas ribbon, where we get to see various calculations in different libraries. So you've got your financial formulas, your logical formulas. The one that we're looking for is lookup and reference. If I click lookup and reference, right on the bottom, I'm going to find the form called Vlookup. And there we go. Now we call this the function argument dialog box, but I want you to look at it as a form, because when people look at the function argument dialog box, they think too complex, they think robotic. I want you to come back and think simplistic. Think this is a form. All you need to do is fill in the information that the form requires. So name, you type in your name. Surname, type in your surname. In this case, we don't have that. The first information that it's asking for us is the lookup value. We know this already. So remember, the lookup value is the value that we're using for Excel to go to the list and find the information. Any ideas what the lookup value is? Yes, if you said B1, perfect, B1. So B1, as you can see, the lookup value is separate from the actual information, So if you're looking in the list and found the pen, then you're looking at the wrong place, because then you're looking where the actual list is. Let's look at the next part of our form. The next part is table array. So the lookup value we said to Excel, use this value to find the answer. Excel asked you back, where is all this information? Where would I get all this information? Now remember what I told you about your finger or my finger. Whenever you run your finger to find the information, you always start in the column where you would find the lookup value as your starting point, and then you'd run it across to where the result is. So you never start in the beginning of a table. In actual fact, you only start in the column where you're going to find the lookup value. So if the lookup value happens to be in the first column, so be it. Now, we know pen is found under product. So we can highlight from product to cost. From product to cost. And why we're highlighting from product to cost is because if you think about this, when you run your finger across, you don't jump columns. You never jump columns on a piece of paper. You actually run it across the line till you find the answer. So table array, where will I find all this information? I'm going to highlight the column F, all the way to H. To tell Excel, from F to H is where you're going to find all the information that we're trying to get. From F to H is where you're going to find the information we're trying to get. So Excel is saying, okay, awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my finger down till I find pen, and then I will run it across. But then when do I stop with my finger? So at what column do I stop my finger? And this is where we count columns. So we count the columns from the start to the point where it's going to actually end. So if I run my finger down till I find pen, and then I go 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to tell Excel, from the starting point of where you ran your finger down. You're going to count 1, 2, 3. And you're then going to stop at the third point or the third column. And you're going to give me that information. So that's what we have on the next part of our form, column index number. This is where we're now indicating the number 3. To say Excel, at the third stop, at the third column, as you're running your finger across that line, you will then stop at that number and give me the answer. The last part talks about range lookup. Range lookup is where we tell Excel whether we want an exact match or an estimate. Now in this case, where we got pen, we wanted to find exactly pen. We don't want anything else. We want pen. So because of this, we enter the word false. So false tells Excel this is an exact match location. We want you to find the exact match. So let's just review quickly. So in this form called Vlookup, the Vlookup form, the first part talks about the lookup value. The lookup value is saying, I want you to find the cost. When Excel asked the cost of what, we said, use this value to look up the cost. So whatever's in that cell, you will use that to find the cost. In this sense, we chose B1. So whatever's in cell B1, it needs to find the cost of that specific information. So Excel then asked, where is all this information? Well, Excel, you're going to look from column F to column H. So we're highlighting all the columns because, like I said, you don't run your finger from the first and then jump to the last. You actually run it across. So from F to H. Excel says, but when I'm running my finger across, where do I stop? How do I know when to stop? Well, Excel, you're going to count the columns from the starting point of your finger. You're going to count 1, 2, 3. At the third column, you're going to stop your finger and give me the information. What happens if the information doesn't exist? And this is why we type in the word false, because if it does not exist, Excel will return NA, because we're looking for an exact match. I hope this makes sense. So let's click OK and let's see what happens. Wow! So it's picked up the number 15. Let's change the product. Let's change the product to a different product. Let's say paper. And press enter. And as you can see, it changes it to 100. How about something else? Let's say file. NA. Because file doesn't exist as a product. So this is why we looked at an exact match. I hope this made sense. I hope you have a better understanding of working with Vlookup. This is the basis of Vlookup. I'd like to thank you for your time and hope to see you soon in the next sessions. Enjoy, have a fantastic day.